The story begins in a bustling city that blends magic and technology, right in front of a cafe called Yugong. Inside, the protagonist serves a drink to a noble woman and politely asks her to try it. He hands her the glass, thinking this drink is his masterpiece. The girl notices that this drink looks way different from the regular coffee he usually serves. She doesn't care what kind of drink it is and thinks that even if it's delicious, nothing will change her plans. The young woman plans to make that arrogant pleb cry with her harsh criticism. The protagonist knows all the tricks. He's going to win her over with the food. Without wasting any time, she takes a sip of the drink. The young man watches her reaction closely, visibly tense and sweating bullets. Suddenly, her eyes widen in extreme amazement as she tastes it. She lets out a scream of surprise and is completely blown away by the sensation. Her face completely red with excitement, she screams that it's incredible. Seeing her reaction, the young man flashes a very confident smile. She thinks she's never had anything like it before and wonders what the heck he actually gave her to drink. Shaken slightly, she points to the glass and asks, "What's the name of that drink?" She asks if that isn't coffee, and he responds that of course it isn't, because it's his latest masterpiece. He proudly declares that this drink will revolutionize the culinary culture of Britannia. This protagonist is a rascal. He ripped off the Coca-Cola formula. The story, then, goes back 3 months in time, showing the imposing royal palace of Britannia. Two maids walk down the luxurious hallways of the palace, chatting away. Suddenly, they stop when they see the protagonist looking out the window. He was lost in thought, tired of living such a fast-paced life. One of the maids is smitten, noticing that the man over there is Lord Hanbean. They are totally blown away by the presence of the great hero of Britannia. They both comment on how dapper he looks today. Though at first glance, he might seem a bit lanky. But in reality, he's a legendary knight who took down colossal beasts on the front lines of the demonic realm. On top of his immense strength, he's also a brilliant alchemist who masters the legendary and impossible creation of materials. On top of that, he also works as an inventor, urban planner, and jurist who reformed the kingdom's laws. This guy is the famous Malusis. They're exploiting our hero. They admire how all the peace in Britannia comes from him and wonder how anyone can be so perfect. A woman appears behind them, sarcastically remarking that he was voted the most desired man by the idol maids. Seeing who the woman was, the two maids quickly ask for permission and dash out. She says he's terrifying for winning hearts like a pyramid scheme, and he just gives her a nod. She formally introduces herself as Secretary Lily Fontaine, who has come to deliver her daily report to Minister Hanben. I couldn't take that hectic life anymore, now as the Minister of Internal Affairs. She has to deal with massive piles of documents on her desk. He knows everyone sees him as the hero who saved the kingdom, but there's a big secret behind all that. In reality, he was just a regular Korean citizen who worked as a food development researcher in the modern world. That was before suddenly falling into this fantasy world and going through extreme trials to survive. After pouring so much into this new home, Hanbin feels he finally deserves a break. He already sent in a request for a week off and is ready to travel by train. All he wants is to get this trip started so he can hit his own personal goals. For sure, he wants to find a wife and retire to the countryside. That's everyone's dream. Back to reality, Lily brings him a cup of coffee to drink while they go over the pending matters. He looks at the cup with a disheartened expression. She asks if something is wrong with the drink, and he brushes it off, thanking her before they start discussing the day's topics. Straight up, Lily warns him that the vacation request sent in by Hanbin was completely rejected. Poor thing, they're treating him like a slave. The shock is so great that the young man ends up spitting out all the coffee he was drinking. Outraged, Hanbin asks, "By what authority did you do that?" And the secretary claims to have more than enough authority. She shyly says that she spends all nights with him, which makes the young man ask her not to talk about the overtime in such an ambiguous way. He's worried about the rumors that could spread around the palace, but she tells him not to worry about it. He happily declares that even if the rumors ruin his chances of getting married, he will still have her by his side. Lily imagines the two of them, old and gray, holding hands, promising that she'll always be there for him. The protagonist is super slow. The waifu is giving him all the signals. Faced with such an absurd response from the secretary, Hanbin is left completely speechless, breaking out in a cold sweat of desperation. He tries to appeal to her sense of reason, reminding her of all his dedication to the kingdom to try and get just 1 week off. Lily starts to explain to him that the harder they work, the more their homeland will shine with glory. She goes on to say that if he takes a whole week off, the progress of the entire nation will slow down to the same extent. When asked if he understands her logic, he simply responds that he understands how much of a workaholic patriot she is. But the secretary tries to calm him down, saying that she perfectly understands how he feels, which gives the young man hope. Instead of vacations, she reveals that she prepared a very delicious special meal, but he says that, in reality, he preferred his days off. Hanbin picks up a strange smell coming from the plate, and Lily comments that the real chef put his heart and soul into preparing this dish. The chef finally unveils the tray and reveals an extravagant eel cake with several fish heads pointing upwards. The young man is in absolute shock as he looks at the lifeless eyes of those fish baked into the cake. Completely horrified by that weird presentation, Hanbin screams in panic for his own safety. The cook leaves with the cart, while Lily calmly says goodbye to him. Alone, she sighs in relief and admits to herself that it was all a joke, since, in reality, she got her vacation approved. To top it off, she's also taking some days off to go with him, and she's even already booked a beautiful beach house for them to enjoy together. Lily gets really excited thinking about how Hanbin will react when he finally finds out about this surprise. He opens the door slowly to tell her the news, but it's weird to see that his office is completely dark and empty. As he enters, he sees the curtains billowing in the wind and papers flying all over the room. He got too confident. The protagonist just ran away. On the desk, there's only a note from him saying he resigned from his ministerial post and asking that no one look for him. Lily is left speechless and completely stunned by the protagonist's sudden escape. As the secretary desperately screams his name, Hanbin is already leaping across the city rooftops under the moonlight. He thinks Lily will do just fine without him, since she's the smartest and most competent administrator in the kingdom. Even though he's improved many things, since he arrived in this world, there's something that still leaves him totally unsatisfied, and that's the terrible food culture of this place, full of ugly and tasteless dishes. Due to the long wars of the past, people only ate to survive, which made the kingdom's cuisine terrible. As an award-winning food investigator from South Korea, that drove him crazy with rage. He regrets that people didn't see any issue with those disgusting meals, even though he had warned them several times. He wanted to take a few days off to search for truly delicious food all over the country, but since he had to flee, he decided to change his plans. He decides that it's finally time to turn his big, old dream into a reality. And here I thought his dream was to build a harem. Guess I'm the only one with a dirty mind here. Without a moment's hesitation, the young man pours the mysterious liquid from the vial directly onto his own hair. A bright, colorful light envelopes his body, initiating a true magical transformation. His dark hair soon changes color, turning completely silver. Even the color of his eyes transforms, completely changing the hero's appearance. Now he's dressed in simple assistant's clothes and is totally disguised to not be recognized. He swears to himself that he will spark the curiosity of people all over the world for the true delicious food. 3 months pass, and the young man now appears bored, cleaning empty glasses in his new cafe. The cafe is perfectly organized and decorated, but completely empty, not a single customer in sight. He lets out a discouraged sigh at the prospect of another day with no business. Outside, 2 old-timers walking by remark that it's no surprise the place is so deserted. They remember that it's been 3 months since Jürgen opened the place in Norderies, promising a coffee, unlike anything else out there. One of them asks the other if he also tried the drink, and a neighbor complains about some weird coffee called espresso. He complains that the drink is way too bitter and comes in such a small amount that it's barely enough to wet your tongue. The other guy agrees and thinks it's ridiculous that Jürgen is still trying to sell those huge coffee machines to customers. They say the machines are only good for scrap, and Jürgen hears everything from inside the store, getting furious at the insults. He admits that his grand project to create a successful chain of coffee shops in that world failed miserably. His plan was to use the crappy coffee that was already there to make better drinks and gradually change people's minds. His mistake was overestimating the local people's taste, who are used to their old eating habits. Jürgen realizes that changing the culinary culture of an entire country is much harder than defeating a giant monster. Suddenly, the bell above the door chimes, announcing someone's arrival at the cafe. A beautiful young blonde woman in a red dress and an elegant hat enters the cafe, covering her face with a fan. The young man greets her kindly and politely asks if she wants him to make her usual. This regular is Miss Penelope, a noble young lady who always visits the cafe. She remarks with disdain that the place is still empty and pathetic, but Jürgen reminds her that she's been coming in every day lately. Penelope responds by saying that he should feel honored, since she would never set foot in such a dump if it weren't for the coffee. With a certain arrogance, she demands that he bring her usual order pronto, and Jürgen responds patiently that he'll have it ready in a jiffy. He carefully places the small cup of coffee on her table. The kid watches the girl drink and realizes she's his only customer and the only reason the business is still open. However, he knows he can't rely on a single customer forever and starts to wonder if he should call it quits. Jürgen stands there, arms crossed, deep in thought and clearly frustrated with the way things are going. But he quickly shakes off that negative thought with determination, refusing to accept defeat. The young man recalls his secretary, Lily, who is sacrificing herself and facing a monumental workload in the palace. Instead, he clenches his fist, determined not to let his friend down, since she sacrificed herself so he could chase his big dream. Poor thing, now she's the office slave. Jürgen knows he still has many modern recipes to try and decides to open his special fridge. With a determined look, he decides that it's finally time to take the second step of his big plan. He pulls out a large, shiny jar brimming with alchemical magic, focused on his goal. Upon returning to the lounge, Jürgen calls the noble by her name, immediately capturing her attention. He thanks her for her loyalty and offers her a special drink on the house, inviting her to try it. She asks if it's a new item on the menu and agrees to try it, finding his sudden formality a bit amusing. The young man starts to pour the drink into the glass. It's a dark, fizzy drink. I think we all know what that is. Penelope examines the glass, confused, noting that the color reminds her of coffee, but the drink is surprisingly cold. Jürgen assures her that she'll love it while she jokes skeptically, asking if he didn't put anything weird in there. With a shrug, the young woman decides to take a generous sip to taste the liquid. The kid watches her reaction with great anticipation, hoping his plan works. Instantly, Penelope's mind is blown away by the explosion of flavor, and she wonders how the hell that's possible. Noticing her amazement, Jürgen flashes a very satisfied, victorious smile. He nods that the dark liquid gives him a surprisingly light and refreshing sensation. The fizzy gas leaves a soft hint of vanilla in his mouth, sliding down his chest in a revitalizing and electric way. To top it off with the subtle hint of lemon, it finishes the experience perfectly, leaving the girl sighing with pleasure. Jürgen realizes he hit the nail on the head and asks her if she liked it, which makes the young woman blush with embarrassment and protest tenderly. Frustrated to admit his talent, she confesses that you really can't deny the quality of the drink. For her, this is without a doubt the most enigmatic and fascinating drink she has ever tasted in her life. Describe the sensation poetically, as if you're drinking a beautiful, sweet night sky full of sparkling stars. Seeing that reaction, so genuine and amazed, the young man is absolutely certain that he has achieved his goal. He mentally celebrates having finally recreated that famous taste in a different world. The girl insists on asking what the name of the drink is and if that's really not coffee, and he prepares to reveal the answer with total conviction. The young man knows that specific creation will bring his cafe ultimate success. It's the famous drink that sells 1,000 out of 1 million portions a day on Earth and has pure water as its only competitor. It's a genuine global phenomenon that has captivated all of humanity, transcending borders and political ideologies. Going way beyond just a soft drink, the product ended up becoming a major global trendsetter. The drink became a staple of modern Earth culture, reigning supreme in popular preference. Jürgen triumphantly reveals the name of his great creation, the famous Coca-Cola. She introduces herself mentally as Penelope Rosemore, the third daughter of a prestigious noble dynasty that has ruled Norderies for generations. Though she finds it beneath her station to frequent such a humble alley, She's been visiting the place regularly for the past 3 months. And the only reason for all those secret visits is the place run by the mysterious Jurgen. The first time she walked in, just out of curiosity, she found that the coffee they served was incredibly delicious. She was blown away by the espresso in her tiny cup, finding the flavor unique and incomparable. Beyond the bold flavor that balances the intense bitterness, there's an even bigger reason for her to come back every day. And that big secret reason is Jurgen himself, the owner of the place, who always takes great care of her. She remembers when he smiled at her kindly and complimented her name, leaving her totally embarrassed. He even joked, asking her not to frown, warning her that otherwise she'd get wrinkles on her beautiful face. Jurgen celebrates as he receives another excellent tip and thanks her kindly, saying he hopes to see her again the next day. The kid pauses when she asks him what he thinks of her, trying to find the perfect answer. He charmingly suggests that she seems like a unique rose, which causes the girl to bristle at such informality. Penelope is furious at the audacity of that commoner, speaking to her in such an informal and intimate way. She realizes that her second big reason for frequenting that place every day is to impose her noble authority on him. For her, a true noble doesn't make people bow, but rather commands respect naturally through their charisma and dignity. Penelope thinks revealing her last name outright would be too crass, preferring that he realizes her nobility on his own, thanks to her elegant demeanor. She loves to imagine the young man scared and sorry for not having recognized a high society lady from the start. In her mind, he would be down on the ground begging for forgiveness for having committed a grave offense against Her Majesty. Imagining the whole scene of the servant's desperation is the most fun part of her daily visits. However, Jurgen interrupts her fantasy by asking why she always comes so dressed up and in such uncomfortable clothes just to have a coffee. That simple question completely shatters the noblewoman's fantasies of superiority, leaving her speechless. Later that night, Penelope relaxes in her luxurious hot tub at home. She gets pissed, thinking that maybe that merchant already knows her noble identity and is just pretending not to know it on purpose. Furious at the thought of being mocked by some lowly commoner, she swears things won't end like this. Using her noble power would be too easy, so she decides to beat him at his own game for greater satisfaction. Though his coffee is excellent, she sees a major weakness in the fact that he serves the exact same drink every day. She plans to give a brutally harsh review the next day to leave him crying with regret. But all that determination crumbles when she finally tries his new and delicious drink. Totally embarrassed and trembling with excitement, she asks him the name of the drink, and he calmly responds that it's called cola. The young woman repeats the name of the drink as she gazes at the empty glass, completely captivated by that wonderful taste. Embarrassed by her own reaction, Penelope hesitates a bit before trying to say something to Jurgen. Blushing intensely, she swallows her pride and timidly asks if she could get another glass. "Please, Jurgen." She flashes a wide half smile, seeing the noble's pride crumble so easily before his creation. "Very kind of you," he says with a smile. "You can drink as many glasses as you want." By the end of that night, Jurgen climbs the stairs to his workshop, thinking about how well his plan is working. He's impressed with the cola's success, since the girl ended up ordering no less than 5 servings in a row. He remembers laughing as she stumbled out of the store, stuffed with soda, muttering the name of the drink over and over. Thanks to that, he confirms that the taste appeals to any type of person and plans to spread the word everywhere. The young man dreams of revolutionizing the kingdom, but regrets that he can't do it now because he doesn't have enough supplies to mass produce. He explains that all the refreshments served today was created using his advanced alchemical magic for material creation. However, the dice-shaped catalyst needed for that magic has an astronomical production cost and yields very little. Since the drink is created by crossing space and time, the final selling price would have to be sky high just to cover the costs. But since he knows people love the drink, his new goal is to find a way to produce it without using those magical catalysts. He plans to use all his scientific knowledge from his past life in the modern world to solve the problem. Combining that modern experience with his excellent alchemy skills from that world, he plans to come up with something new. The idea is to blend both techniques to produce the drink economically, using only common ingredients from that fantasy world. With the plan set, Jurgen stretches and decides that the first logical step will be to gather the necessary ingredients. The search takes him to the southern continent, in a dense and wild tropical rainforest region called the Protectorate of Solterra. Deep in the vegetation, there's a huge wooden mansion that serves as a hideout for the Montegra cartel. The muscular leader in a flowery shirt asks if that guy is the eccentric who came to negotiate directly with his organization. Standing before him is Jurgen, wearing an elegant purple cloak and a white rabbit mask to conceal his identity. The boss finds it odd that he traveled all this way just to look for ingredients, since Jurgen's homeland is rich in resources. Behind his disguise, the young man only shows a mysterious and very confident smile. Jurgen agrees that his homeland is rich, but explains that there is a very specific ingredient that he can only find in that jungle, no beating around the bush. He reveals that the product he is looking for is the rare coca leaves. The cartel boss is visibly shocked and tense upon hearing the name of that forbidden plant. He comments that the kid is crazy to call that an ingredient instead of an illegal substance, but says he doesn't care what they do with the plant. Being a good businessman, the boss asks Jurgen what price he is willing to pay for that merchandise. Jurgen points with his index finger and, with a lot of audacity, proposes to buy the leaves for just 1 copper coin per ton. The cartel leader nearly fell over in shock at the audacity of such a ridiculous offer. The underlings start laughing hysterically, calling the kid crazy and joking that he might as well have asked for the leaves for free. The boss just raises his hand, and in that very moment, the gang of criminals straightens up and falls silent. He stares intently at Jurgen and seriously questions if that proposal makes any sense for a business. Jurgen responds with a calm smile that that's the perfect price to pay the troublemakers that infest the kingdom. The cartel leader gives a look that is extremely dangerous and irritated at that direct provocation, annoyed at having his time wasted. He orders them to strip the invader of everything and toss his body to the lizards in the lake. One of the guys steps forward with the sword, mocking the situation, saying the gators are gonna have a feast. He jumps to attack Jurgen, saying it's better to cut him into little pieces, first to make things easier. In the blink of an eye, the masked invader takes down the attacker with a swift and devastating blow, sending him crashing to the ground. The gang leader is completely baffled and left speechless as he watches his man get taken down so easily. The underlings panic, realizing that this mysterious masked man is anything but a common noble. Despite being scared, they try to rally and surround Jurgen from all sides. Calmly, Jurgen simply crosses his arms and summons his shiny magical material creation die. He uses creation magic to summon the element of gravity directly through the catalyst. A massive barrier of green energy explodes around him, overwhelming the entire room with crushing pressure. The spell is so powerful that it encompasses the entire mansion in the middle of the jungle. The magical barrier glows intensely, sealing the place completely with a formidable energy. Desperate, the men shout, not understanding what's happening and asking what's been done to them. They start to float uncontrollably through the air, realizing their bodies have lost all weight. Jurgen calmly controls the magical flow, while keeping all the offenders floating helplessly on the ceiling. One of the men screams in terror as he finds himself floating upside down, unable to do anything to escape. The spell is so incredible that it makes the entire mansion lift off the ground and float in the sky like an island. The cartel boss begs him to stop and demands to know why he's attacking the group so brutally. Jurgen repeats coldly that he only wants the coca leaves to extract the essential ingredient for his perfect soda recipe. Shaking with fear, the leader asks, what kind of recipe needs something like this so urgently? Jurgen just signals silence and responds mockingly that that's an absolute secret. Meanwhile, back in the city of Norderus, Penelope heads to Jurgen's place, eager to grab her drink. However, she runs into a huge sign on the door warning that the place is closed for vacation. The young noble stands still, her face shadowed by disappointment and anger. She falls into desperation and shouts irritated, upset about having come all the way here for nothing and not being able to get her beloved cola today. Annoyed by having wasted her time, she swears she'll never forgive him if she finds out he traveled for any other reason than the drink far from there. In the tropical jungle, Jurgen continues to control his immense magical gravity sphere with total ease. The enormous wooden mansion remains suspended in the air under the effect of the gravitational spell. Suddenly, the green energy bubble starts to violently contract. With the sudden increase in gravity, the entire structure is hurled back to the ground at high speed, causing the criminals to scream. The mansion collapses destructively in the middle of the jungle, creating a devastating impact that destroys everything around it. From the top of a cliff, Jurgen watches the smoke rising from the ruins of the enemy base, which was completely destroyed. He warns the tied-up men that this serves as a warning and that they should thank him for sparing their lives. However, the young man notices something odd and mutters a doubt as he looks at the group of prisoners. He realizes that the cartel leader, Rappo, isn't among the tied-up men and wonders if he messed up in controlling his magic. But soon, Jurgen notices a suspicious bush moving and understands that the boss is trying to sneak away like a rat. Running frantically through the jungle, the boss shouts angrily that this isn't cowardice, but a pure survival strategy. Jurgen just stands there, a single bead of sweat on his forehead, watching the desperate escape of the man who had once seemed so tough. The kid warns him that their business isn't over yet and questions if he really thought he could get away that easily. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the luxurious royal palace of Britannia on a sunny day. In the meeting room, Lily listens intently to a report on the rise of the Montague cartel. The informant explains that the faction has grown quickly in the south, bringing serious problems that local government isn't managing to solve. He details that the gang is led by Rappo, a tough 5th class knight who easily took out the special forces sent to stop him. Lily agrees with the difficulty of the mission, remembering that the combat strength of a 5th class knight is on par with the destructive power of a battle tank. The dangerous criminal desperately tries to escape amidst the devastating explosions at the location. Rappo realizes, terrified, that the power of the mysterious masked opponent far exceeds that of any ordinary tank. In the palace, the officer warns that sending troops to the jungle would be a disaster, as the casualties against a knight of that level would be enormous. However, the cartel leader himself is already suffering from the enormous wind of Jurgen Gritter's gravitational spell. In desperation, as she is violently pulled to the ground by the overwhelming force of the magic, Lily wonders if the Algan Empire is secretly backing the criminals, and the informant says there are suspicions, but proof is still lacking. She knows that using military force on the border with the rival empire would violate the peace agreement and cause a serious diplomatic crisis. In the jungle, Rappo desperately cries for help as giant trees come crashing down around him. Even though the situation is tense, she decides that for now, the best option is to keep a close eye on everything to avoid losing control of the protectorate. The officer calls her minister, but Lily steps in to correct him, saying that she's only the acting minister for now. She confesses seriously that she's only holding down the fort until Lord Hanbin finally returns to the palace. After receiving orders from his superior, the informant politely asks for permission and exits the meeting room. Alone, she whispers the name of Han Bin with a melancholic gaze, missing his presence greatly. She thinks that if he were there, he would know exactly what to do. Feeling the weight of the void he left, the young woman clasps her hands in a silent prayer, wondering where her hero is and what he's up to. In the jungle, Jurgen finally catches up to Rappo and mocks him, saying he finally gave up on running. He stands imposingly right in front of the criminal, cornering him completely against the trees. Rappo begs that he doesn't even know him and asks what he has against the cartel, but Jurgen assures him that he has nothing personal against him. Crying, the big guy complains that it's hard to make a living with a guy like him around and begs him to forgive him just this once. Jurgen mocks, reminding him that he controls the entire Montague region, and the villain responds that compared to the young man's power, he is just a street vendor. The boss offers to hand over all the coca leaves and anything else if Jurgen just spares his life, catching the young man's attention. However, behind that victim act, begging for mercy, a treacherous smile creeps across the criminal's face. He plans to lure Jurgen close to land a surprise attack with the dagger he sneakily hid on the ground. The villain thinks that no matter how powerful the kid is, he's still just a fragile alchemist in hand-to-hand combat. He's sure that Jurgen won't withstand a surprise hit from a knight with a physique pushed to the absolute limit. In a split second, Rappo lunges forward with fury, trying to drive his weapon into the masked foe. But the villain misses the blow completely and only hits air, looking perplexed as he realizes his target has vanished from his sight. The cartel leader freezes up, ice-cold sweat dripping down his face as he feels a sudden, overwhelming weight on his head. Jurgen just dodged it with extreme ease, and now he's standing right on top of the villain's head. Right away, the kid slams the boss to the ground with crushing force, burying him in the dirt up to his neck, leaving him unable to move. Rappo is completely stunned and unable to react. Jurgen squats down in front of him peacefully and presents a business contract, asking the boss to sign the document right away. Unable to escape, the villain glares at the paper with hatred and growls in rage at his captor. Rappo complains that the document is full of abusive clauses and questions his conscience. But Jurgen tells him that transgressors have no right to talk about that. He complains that paying farmers fair wages and selling the harvest at almost giveaway prices would be a sure bankruptcy, refusing to sign. With coldness, Jurgen questions why. The only alternative the crook can think of is always to exploit the poor local workers. He suggests simply that the group of underlings start planting and cultivating the lands, since they have plenty of manpower available. Proud, the boss gets angry at the idea of turning criminals into farmers and shouts that he'd rather lose his life than stoop to that. Jurgen just stares at him silently for a moment, sighing at such stubbornness and foolishness with a dangerous look. The kid starts to conjure up a massive gravity sphere and warns him that he's gonna set things straight between them. The dark energy spreads in a terrifying way over the head of the masked youth, terrifying Rappo. He unleashes the devastating gravity spell with all his might right next to where the criminal is trapped. The explosion rips apart the ground and rocks mere inches from the villain, leaving him in sheer panic at the display of destructive power. Jurgen keeps a magical protective barrier active so that the debris doesn't reach them during the display of power. He coldly threatens that if the villain breaks the contract or runs, he will be hunted down and the suffering of today will be repeated. The dark smoke and debris around show that the kid is not joking around at all with that terrible threat. Completely terrified and crying, Rappo finally agrees to sign everything, and Jurgen celebrates the excellent business deal. Later that night, in the Imperial Palace of Britannia, a messenger bursts into the official office, fixes Lily's title in a hurry, and hands her an urgent report straight from the Protectorate. The messenger shouts in amazement that the feared Montague cartel has just voluntarily disbanded out of nowhere. Lily is totally blown away to read that all the criminals in the cartel suddenly decided to become farmers. With this deal, Jurgen celebrates that the hardest part of securing the coca leaf supply has finally been sorted. The kid knows he still has to go through the grueling process of removing the plant's properties and extracting just the flavor, but he's secured enough raw material to produce 1,000, no joke, bottles of cola, feeling less guilty for ditching his minister post. Still, Jurgen knows he can't just take whatever he needs and decides to legally buy the rest of the ingredients. He needs to get sugar and a bunch of spices, so he decides to open his safe to check how much money he has left. To his disappointment, the young man realizes that there's absolutely nothing left in that his current funds are at zero. Getting a loan is out of the question, since he wiped his old identity and now has no credit line at the bank. Jurgen decides that manual labor is his best bet and gets ready to scavenge for supplies in the notary's maze. Meanwhile, Penelope walks towards Jurgen's place, rocking a stunning red dress and a classy hat. The girl is really pissed because she's been making this trek for days to no avail, and her patience with his disappearance is wearing thin. She wonders what's so special about that line and complains that Jurgen is ignoring his only loyal customer so coldly. Suddenly, Penelope starts to suspect that he might have run away in the middle of the night with all his bags without telling anyone. She remembers that she never saw another customer there and thinks that for a bankrupt merchant with overdue rent, running away would be expected. The young woman panics at the thought that if he really left, she'll never be able to drink his delicious soda or coffee again. She regrets that he didn't say anything, because if the situation was so bad, she could have lent him the money for the rent. Penelope soon remembers a small important detail. The kid doesn't even know she's the daughter of a very influential count. She regrets not revealing her identity sooner, just as Jurgen opens the door with a huge backpack. Penelope's eyes widen and she is completely taken aback to see the young man right in front of her, dressed as an explorer. Jurgen steps out of the tent, cool as a cucumber, with the giant backpack on his back and a rope slung around his waist. The noblewoman starts to tremble with anger, realizing he wasn't sneaking away in the middle of the night, but in broad daylight. Jurgen greets her friendly, but she immediately orders him with a serious look to put that backpack down. She screams furiously that he doesn't have permission to leave under any circumstances until he hands over his beloved cola. After all the initial commotion, Jurgen serves a hot cup to calm the girl's mood inside the establishment, seated at the table. Penelope says she finally understood the tragic situation that he is out of cola and out of ingredients. She holds her cup with both hands, shaking with pure frustration, while Jurgen just watches her, a bit embarrassed. Penelope downs her drink in one go and complains about having waited all these days, leaving the young man surprised to learn that she always came by. She denies it furiously and says she wasn't waiting for him, making the young man wonder why she's so upset. Suddenly, Penelope asks him where he's going to get the ingredients, since she doesn't have any money, and he responds that he'll find them in the labyrinth of Norderies. She asks him if he's lost touch with reality and questions if he even knows what floor of the labyrinth the spices are on. Jurgen keeps a very confident smile on his face in response to her question about his journey. The young man calmly explains that most of the spices he needs can be found right on the 4th floor of the labyrinth. Penelope admits that he did his homework, but warns him that the labyrinth is still dangerous, even after the big campaign against the monsters. He explains that the security is only for adventurers and that a common merchant wandering around there would be easily devoured. She explains that the safety is only for adventurers and that a common merchant wandering around there would be easily devoured. Moreover, it is emphasized that to enter from the 4th floor onwards, a permit issued by the guild or the merchant union is required. To get through there freely, the person absolutely needs a silver rank permit or higher. He mentions that if a civilian gets into trouble in there, the rescue team will have a hard time, causing Jurgen to sigh worriedly. Jurgen questions, surprised, why you need a permit just to hunt monsters, and she notices that he didn't know anything about it. The girl remarks that in the past, people were even paid to go there, but she says that times have definitely changed a lot. Suddenly, an idea pops into Penelope's mind, and she realizes that this situation could be the perfect opportunity she's been looking for. She thinks that if she helps Jurgen gather the necessary ingredients for the glue, she can gain a huge advantage from it. The young woman imagines that this help would give her the perfect reason to demand her beloved drinks for free whenever she wants, and best of all, it would be the ideal opportunity to show off all her skills to that guy, who seems so naive. Distracted, Penelope clears her throat with pride and warns that the silver rank pass is only given to adventurers who are really very experienced. She adds that nobles also receive this pass as a special privilege as she starts to pull hers out of her pocket. With a victorious smile, she reveals that the highly coveted entry permit is right there in her hands at that moment. Penelope flashes her shiny emerald pass and proudly says it allows her to bring up to 3 companions into the maze. Jurgen is blown away by the shine of that special pass, and she boasts, asking him if he's finally impressed. She thinks that benefits like that aren't given to just anyone, and she's sure that now the merchant has discovered her true origins. Holding the object carefully, Jurgen admits, surprised, that he had no idea Penelope has something so valuable in her hands. With a lot of attitude, Penelope asks him if he's an alchemist or if by any chance he's a highly skilled adventurer. Jurgen gets indignant, wondering how she came to that conclusion, but the girl quickly deduces that he must be a knight. A short time later, both arrive at the imposing portal of Richfield Mana to begin their official journey. Jurgen waits patiently in the station lobby, lugging his huge backpack as people bustle around him. Penelope shows up behind him and comments that she managed to get to the meeting point just fine. The young woman is now wearing a very eye-catching red explorer suit, perfect for walking through the maze. The young man stares at her, completely bewildered by her sudden change in style, while she looks at him seriously. She questions why he's staring at her so much, and Jurgen responds that he just found the outfit very different from her usual style. Penelope asks him if he really thought she would enter a maze in a dress, warning him that she is only there as a guide. She reminds him that the deal is to get him to the 4th floor safely in exchange for the first finished bottles of cola. Then they get in line at the platform to present the necessary documentation to the guard on duty. Penelope proudly displays her emerald pass, leaving the guard in the booth quite surprised. With free rein, they both head towards the glowing magical circles drawn on the wooden floor. Jurgen remarks that the place looks a lot like an airport VIP lounge, leaving Penelope totally confused by the terms. He brushes it off, saying it was just an expression from his hometown, and she tells him to stop pretending he knows everything. Jurgen silently recalls the time when he used to walk through that dangerous maze, like it was his own backyard. Since he took office as minister, he had never been there again, so now he feels a great sense of coming home. Both step into the center of the teleportation circle and wait for the magic to start activating around them. With a powerful burst of blue energy, they are instantly sent into the dark interior of the caverns. As he opens his eyes in the new setting, Jurgen lets out a sigh of pure surprise at what he sees around him. Penelope calls him to keep moving while the young man stays behind, taking in the details of that underground structure. She tells him not to wander off and to follow the lampposts, leaving the young man confused by the presence of streetlights there. In the past, this place was just a stifling environment, full of dark stone walls and no points of reference. The danger of being attacked by terrible monsters at any moment turned that place into a nightmare for explorers, but the girl comments that things have changed a lot these days and calmly indicates the way to the left. Jurgen is totally blown away, mouth agape, as he notices they even put up traffic signs in the maze. The young man asks if they shouldn't watch out for traps, but she says that the guild cleaned up the whole 1st floor years ago. Seeing so many modern changes, Jurgen thinks to himself that this place now looks more like a theme park. Penelope proudly recounts that they blasted a huge hole in the maze wall to create a quick shortcut to the target. She warns that a regular civilian is still in great danger if they let their guard down, because even though the guild has removed the traps, the monsters are still around. The noble stresses seriously that the authorities have no way of controlling where the wild creatures will appear on the path. Suddenly, two bright, red eyes emerge from the darkness right in front of the couple, grabbing their attention. A shadowy manta ray-like creature appears, floating and emitting a mysterious and threatening purple aura in the tunnel. Without hesitation, Penelope quickly pulls out some vials of alchemical catalyst to prepare for the impending fight. The monster slowly flies in, circling the couple who watch it from below with intense focus. Penelope stiffens a bit as she sees the creature up close and whispers worriedly that it's really a monster. Remember that the creature is called a maze ray, a parasite that becomes weak like a wild dog when it doesn't have a host. Despite having studied the subject well, this is the first time she's come face to face with a monster like this in her life. Remember that this is only her 4th foray, and at the other times she was always completely protected by experienced warriors. However, she swears to herself that she can't let under any circumstances. Jurgen finds out that she's never truly fought before. Relying on her 4th class alchemist title, she leans on the various vials of catalyst she brought with her. Penelope feigns disdain, saying she's just a weak little disturbance class creature, and orders Jurgen to focus solely on protecting the suitcases. The floating monster speeds towards her, ready to start the physical confrontation in the dark tunnel. With a determined look, she tells her companion to brace himself and get ready to be blown away by her brilliant magic. She hurls her catalyst vials and summons a magic of arrows aimed at the approaching target. However, right after, the girl freezes up, looking confused, not quite understanding what just happened. Suddenly, the monster is hit and defeated by a surprise attack from another direction, exploding into magical smoke in the air. A voice from the darkness apologizes for the interruption, revealing that it fired because it thought the two of them were in danger. 3 well-armed warriors approach, and the man in front asks if they're okay or if they got hurt in the attack. Jurgen silently sizes them up and notices that despite their simple appearance, the trio of adventurers seem to be made up of veterans. The blonde-haired man bows politely and introduces himself as Ethan, the vanguard of this group of adventurers. Penelope simply ignores him, saying she didn't ask anything, and orders Jurgen to keep moving because they have a long road ahead. Ethan tries to insist, saying that the place is more dangerous than she thinks, but the noble responds coldly that she already said she's not interested. Jurgen is surprised by the guy's incredible persistence, since most normal people would back down in embarrassment after a brush-off like that. The blonde guy suggests that it would be much better to travel with reliable adventurers than with the porter who looks so defenseless. Ethan proudly displays his silver rank pass, but Penelope suddenly stops and calls him a mere commoner. She makes it clear that she can handle herself just fine and doesn't need any help from a lowlife like him. With a terrifying and furious gaze, the young woman commands in a threatening tone that the adventurer leave immediately. The warrior is completely terrified and speechless, while Jurgen just watches from afar with a sly little smile. The blonde kid decides to beat it, grumbling that it's a damn shame and sarcastically wishes them a great trip. However, Jurgen notices that the group plans to follow them in secret and keeps a close eye on their movements. Jurgen remarks softly that maybe he rejected the guys too harshly, but it doesn't seem to bother her. He explains that not all the adventurers around there have good intentions and says that while caution is good, it's not wise to make enemies unnecessarily. With no patience for his advice, Penelope just stomps down hard on Jurgen's foot to shut him up. She complains that he has no backbone for taking the insults to his face and being called a helpless pack mule without reacting. Jurgen smiles and thanks her, finding it sweet that she was upset to defend him, but Penelope vehemently denies it, completely red-faced. He justifies himself by saying that he only got upset when he saw such a nasty guy trying to take advantage of them. The couple continues their silent walk, crossing an ancient stone bridge suspended within the dark cavern. Finally, they reach the entrance that leads directly to the third floor of the vast labyrinth territory. Checking his wristwatch, Jurgen is startled to realize that night has already fallen, and that time has flown by incredibly fast. He tells her his midnight and suggests they set up camp to rest and leave the entrance to the fourth floor for tomorrow. Penelope asks, frightened, if there's any shelter nearby, but Jurgen says the nearest shelter is a 2-hour walk away. The kid tells her to sit on a rock and relax while he takes care of setting up the whole campsite. To the young man's surprise, the girl accepts very docilely and silently, sitting exactly where he told her to. Jurgen admits he was expecting a huge tantrum from her for having to sleep on the hard ground, but she remains silent. In reality, Penelope is sitting hugging her own knees with a pretty sad and melancholic expression on her face. She starts to blame herself silently for everything that's happening on this trip. She regrets having walked in circles hunting a monster just to show off, because if it weren't for that, they'd already be in the safe shelter. Since it's their first time camping out in the open, she fears waking up with a sore back and worries about the night watch shifts. The young woman feels terrible for dragging Jurgen into this mess in the middle of nowhere just to get a simple bottle of cola. Imagining the scolding she'd get from her noble family if they found out she was sleeping on the floor of a cave. Penelope recalls her father's stern words about the nobility's responsibility, about owning up to the consequences when their servants suffer. The father teaches that compensating the servants with gifts or bonuses for their efforts is what truly means the concept of nobility. She agrees with herself that she needs to give Jurgen a fair reward, but is interrupted by a sound coming from behind. Looking to the side, she is completely blown away to see that Jurgen has already set up a flawless tent and prepared a cozy campfire. She comments, surprised, that he looks very experienced at camping, and the young man responds with a big smile that he's done this many times. Right away, Jurgen hands her a dark blanket to wrap herself in and protect her from the cold wind that sweeps through the underground caverns. Penelope complains a bit about the smell of the fabric, but Jurgen explains that in damp places, what matters is thermal insulation and practicality. The young man winks at her in a friendly way and says wisely that the practical use of an object should always be more important than its price. Penelope looks deeply into his eyes for a moment and finally manages a slight, sincere smile of admiration. He promises her that he'll buy her a much better blanket when they get out of there, and the young man accepts, laughing while he flips the food in the pan. He presents the dish as potato pancakes with plenty of calories, and explains that this food will guarantee them enough energy for the next day. Penelope thinks the smell is excellent, but finds the appearance very plain and too greasy before taking the first bite. As soon as she takes the first bite and bites down, she closes her eyes, feeling an indescribable crispy texture invade her palate. She indulges in the crispy and smooth texture of the shredded potato strips, which seem to melt perfectly in her mouth. The young woman is amazed by that rich flavor and wonders if this is really made from the same ordinary potato she eats every day. Just as the simple taste of the potato begins to settle, a subtle and refreshing aroma of fine herbs appears to complete the dish. Penelope starts to eat frantically, unable to stop, and Jurgen offers her a warm cup of chamomile tea to go with it. With her mouth full, she asks what spell he used on the food, and Jurgen casually reveals that he just fried them with butter and mantequilla. She's amazed to find out the big secret was just using good quality butter, and Jurgen laughs, asking if the food is good. Penelope tries to keep up her noble facade and says that the food isn't half bad, but her face soon gives her away. The expression on her face makes it crystal clear to Jurgen that this meal would be absolutely perfect with a cold beer. A short time later, the camp's pans and plates are already completely clean and empty. The girl sleeps peacefully in the tent, totally wiped out and satisfied. After the good meal, Jurgen notices that she fell asleep instantly and concludes, laughing, that splitting the night watch shift is totally out of the question. She asks him to wake her up in 3 hours, but the young man decides to let her sleep, knowing the journey must be exhausting for a noble. He stretches out near the campfire and thinks that she only followed him there out of sheer stubbornness, bracing himself for a long night of watch. The young man pours himself a very hot cup of the tea he made on the fire and drinks it calmly to pass the time. With his back to the darkness, he remarks that taking you there has a special charm, and invites the hidden pursuers to join him. Jurgen reveals that he already knew he was being followed and tells the guys to stop freezing in the dark and come warm up by the fire. The three adventurers from before emerge from the shadows with wicked grins and weapons drawn to corner the kid.